Okay, welcome everyone. It is 1 o'clock. It is a Wednesday, April 8th, and nice day out there. I guess we're supposed to have snow tomorrow, but so far so good. Today we're going to talk about using WeVideo, which is an online video editor. But before we do that, just like every day, we're going to answer questions from the last couple days. So people submitted questions, and as questions pop into the chat room, we'll look at those as well. So we're going to start out. First question that came from yesterday. Yesterday we talked about security, password security, the things that you could be doing and should be doing to make sure that your own information is secure. As we rely more and more on online services like we are right now, it's really important that we are being secure, even more so than ever. Before we could, probably just go into the bank, and now we're doing that kind of stuff virtually more and more. So if you didn't get a chance to, yesterday's show was all about that. I would definitely recommend checking that out, some best practices and links and all the good stuff. If you haven't done this already, if you go to rsu19.info, if you're in our district, you can click the attendance tab. And if you are outside rsu19.info, welcome. You don't worry about the attendance. We're glad to have you here. So today's topic is going to be about WeVideo. One of the questions that came up from yesterday from the security, I'm not sure who said it because they didn't put their name, but it said, "Thanks to you, I checked the website you suggested," which was haveibeenpwned.com, I believe. And unfortunately, my main email address has been pwned. Gmail details. So what do you do if you have been, your address has been pwned, has been taken over? Number one is to change your password. That's always the best thing, because that way, if they did get in for some reason, if you've changed your password to something that only you know, that's a good thing. The other thing I was going to show you is if you sign in somewhere and you want to sign out remotely, how you would do that. So I'm just going to do a quick screen share here. Okay, so I'm going to put that up. Good. Okay, so if I have signed in, let's say I went to the library and I signed into my Google account and I did some work on the computer there, and then I left and I forgot to sign out, or I thought I signed out, but I really didn't. The easiest way to check and the easiest way to sign out of all your devices, if you just go to Gmail, so I have it up right here, so just go to Gmail. And down, if you scroll down, now you might have a lot of emails here. So you might have a ton of emails. You can scroll all the way down the bottom right. There's a little link there that says details. You click on that, and this window pops up. And right here, I can click sign out of all Gmail web sessions. So I click on that, and it will sign me out of everywhere at once. Now, if you notice here, I look through these, it will tell me what's the last time my account was accessed, when it was signed in, where it was. Every once in a while, you might see something on there that says, California. And you're like, wait a second, I wasn't in California yesterday. Why is that on there? As I mentioned yesterday, if you have third-party applications turned on and you connect that third party, it might ping their servers in California or somewhere else in the world. And that's okay. And it will tell you over here what the account was. But if you see something you don't recognize, like it's unknown and it says, it's from China or from somewhere else and you don't have any idea of that, just to be safe, every once in a while, it's no big deal. Just click sign out of all web sessions. Once you sign out, of course, you'll have to sign back in. And again, you can change your password if you need to, if that's an issue. Speaking of signing in and out of passwords, signing in and out of Google, one of the most common things that happens that I see as far as people having issues or students having issues with their account, or why can't I see it? Why isn't it viewing it? Sometimes we think we're signed into one account, but we're really signed into another one. So if I click up here, right now, if I click, I'm in google.com, I'm actually on Firefox, but same thing as Chrome, same idea. If I click up here, here's one account and here's another account. And so these two accounts have both been signed into this browser, and I can jump back and forth. Well, there are times when it says, wait, it says I'm in one account, but it hasn't clicked over for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why, but it hasn't actually switched over to the other account yet. So my recommendation, even if it says this, is sign out of all accounts. So if I click sign out, sign of everything, then start fresh. I know there was one teacher who was sharing videos they were doing. They were doing Screencastify videos. And when they shared that, they were saying, well, why are my students not being able to see that? It says they're not signed in or not be able to view that. This was the situation. This was the reason why. Even though it looked like they needed to sign out of everything and then sign out just into that account. It's a little bit weird. I'm not sure exactly why it's tricky like that. It shouldn't be, but it is. And so that's one way to deal with that. Another question that came up for our from our questions from yesterday and the day before and so forth was, how do I manage the notifications from Google Classroom? If you want to receive an email, if you want to kind of notify which things, if students create a post in your Google Classroom, but you want to know it's there, it's really easy. If you go to classroom.google.com, so I go to my home Classroom page. A quick reminder, if you do have a Google Classroom, and if you haven't shared it, this is for RSU 19 folk, but if you haven't shared it with classroom@rsu19.net, please do that. I think we have most of the classes, but if there's a class out there that you're running, just go to that. I'll show you right here. If I click on the class, just go to People, click on this little icon on the upper right, invite teachers, and add that Classroom account, classroom@rsu19.net. That said, if I'm trying to manage my settings, so I want to receive other, there you go. If I want to receive more kind of granular options as far as how my settings go for Classroom. Up here in the upper right, there's a little gear. I can click on that. These are class settings for this one class. So for example, if I want to allow students can comment, or can students post and comment, meaning can they use that as an asynchronous way to communicate back and forth? Now remember, all teachers can see, even if they've deleted it, they can see everything that's typed there. Or can only teachers post a comment? Again, that's up to you. What I find the younger grades, 5th grade, 6th grade and on, they love getting in there and leaving all kinds of silly posts. And so you'd want to watch that. And if it's an issue, you can turn that off. If it's not an issue, leave it running. But if I want to address the settings of all my classes and how I receive them, I'm actually going to click in the upper left up here, these 3 little lines, and go down to settings at the very bottom right here. Now these settings, what do you want to do? I can receive email notifications or not. Which ones? If they comment, if they leave a post, a class notification. Again, there's all kinds of settings in here by class that you can adjust based on what you want. You may want them all on, you may want them all off. That's up to you, however you want to manage that. These are just the emails that you're going to receive saying, oh, Johnny left a post, or Susie left a post, or left a comment, or whatever. How much do you want to receive for information? Again, that's up to you. All right, let me jump back here. The other thing that I wanted to share as far as a question that came up, and as far as using the classroom or using Hangouts or whatever. The virtual classroom, of course, it's very different than our regular traditional, face-to-face classroom in person with each other. But some of the behaviors need to stay consistent. And what I mean by that is if you have a student that cannot handle being able to be in a virtual classroom and they're constantly being disruptive, or they're being inappropriate, or they're showing pictures they shouldn't be, or whatever that is, one, you can remove them. Obviously, you would want to talk to them as much as possible. And you can kick them out of that one hangout at the time. But if it becomes a continual problem, absolutely reach out to the parents. Let the administration know so they can deal with it if they need to. But the worst case scenario, if you have a student, and sadly we will have some kids that just can't handle the responsibility of being able to do a discussion like this. They'll throw inappropriate things up, and you would deal with them the same way you would in class. And what I mean by that is we're able to restrict students so they could not join a hangout like this, a live one. Now, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't be able to receive the video. So if we did a hangout like we're doing right now, and we recorded a class, they've shown themselves not able to handle the responsibility of being in a class together, but then they could watch the video. So they still get instruction. They've just lost that freedom and that privilege of being in the class at the same time. Now, of course, we don't want this. This is not our first go-to thing. But sometimes if it's necessary, if there is a student that just can't handle the freedom of this, that's one way to deal with it. I just want the district to know that's an option if it comes to that. Notifications. Oh yeah, and one last thing I was going to share. This came up from a question from one of the students this morning, actually, in one of my classes. If you're concerned about the speed of your internet, if it feels slow, but you're not sure what it is, one really easy way to test. Again, I'm going to jump back to google.com, to another screen share here. So if you search for speed test, this link should come up right here. And you can just click on that, and it will just do a quick speed test on your network, on your internet. It'll just tell you kind of roughly what it is. Now, What you can do about that is going to depend on your ISP, your internet service provider. But it will give you some information. I'm sure that right now they'll say things like, we're too busy right now, or everybody's kind of using it, which I understand. But just a reality, just so you know, that that's a way to test to know exactly what your up and down speed is. It will do a test for upload speed, and it'll do a test for download speed. So one way to check if a student says, oh, I'm having real problems, one way to eliminate one of the options, things it could be, is run a speed test, have them tell you what their numbers are, and if, depending on, what they're doing, if it's cable internet or DSL or whatever, it will indicate how fast it is, and that will help you kind of determine what things it might be, if it's a computer or something else. All right, with that, I'm going to jump into, let's see here, we're going to jump into the topic of the day. Today we're talking about WeVideo, as I mentioned. So what WeVideo is an online video editing service. And I think there were some students joining us today, which is awesome. Welcome, welcome. And if any of you guys ever have students that you want to join, because it would be helpful for them to hear some of the technology tips, I'd love to have them. Absolutely welcome to be here. So we're going to go through the steps of what you would do to get going in WeVideo. We do have the full version. Again, they're offering it free right now, just like most services, that's connected with your Google account. So when you first go to it, you're going to click on your Google account. So I'll start by just going to WeVideo like this. It's WeVideo. When you come up to it to click on it to open it, I think I'm already signed in. Yes, I am. But if you're not signed in before, the first window that will pop up will say something like, how do you want to sign in? And you just click on the Google, connect with Google account. And that will connect with your school account, and we have the full version. The free version is up to 5 minutes worth of video, but the full version has, I think it's like 18 hours or something like that worth of video. So, and we have the free full version for a while, I believe till the summer. So here's my open WeVideo, just kind of the open dashboard here. There's lots of different stuff in here. What's all this stuff mean and do? One option, and I'll show you the steps on this, is you can record. Let's say you want to record with your Screencastify, with your screen, and then use that video and upload it directly into WeVideo and go from there. The biggest factor to recognize about using this, as far as using this as a service, is that because it's online and web-based, it's just going to take longer for each video. So these videos that we've been editing, I've been editing some of these podcasts here in WeVideo just to kind of see how it works, and these are about an hour long. So it would take, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes for it to render that first time. Not hours. It won't take forever. But if you're not doing anything quite this long, you'll see that it's not. It'll just take a little bit less time. This one right here actually is 42 minutes. So that took a little while for it to render and but it does work. You can record right here. If I click recording, you can actually record right into it, just kind of like Screencastify. Do I want to use the web screen? Do I want a webcam? Do I want to use the screen itself, or both? So this is another option. Again, works similar. It's just another step. It's a little bit more complicated than Screencastify, but if you want to record with WeVideo, absolutely you can do that as well. Let me jump back before I get too far here. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new project. Now the project is kind of like, what are we working on? Okay, so this is the thing. So I'm going to create right here in the lower right hand corner, click the plus. My project is, we're going to do a video, let's see, a drone video of the new school. So here's my new project. And I'm just going to use some video that we already have of the new school. I can add a description in here. The project type, is this a personal one? And this kind of acts like a Google Doc or Google Tools, where it can be shared collaboratively, it can be shared individually. So I can keep it as a personal one, just for me. I can also share that with other people, and they can work on the video with me. Again, internet speed is going to be a factor here as far as everybody on it at once and moving things around and so forth. But if you have a project with a couple students that want to work collaboratively like this, this is a great way to do it. They can work it this way. And finally, can they share each other members? So this means that the media, the content is the same for our students, but they do their own thing with it. Think, for example, let's say you had a couple pictures and some videos of a topic, and you want to provide that for a class and have the class each do their own version of that same content, the same core content. You're providing that, but they're each cutting it or editing it their own way. That's different than this one, where they're all shared at the same time, the same project. So for right now, I'm just going to do a personal one, so just for me. Click next. Okay. This is the media tab. These are the things that you have already uploaded and stored there. Now, I'm not going to use any of these right now because I'm going to show you how to add ones that you haven't added yet. But these are different videos that you have already connected. Click next. All right, we're ready to create our video. So it's going to give you some templates. You can play with these if you want. These are, it says book report and newscasts and how tutorial. Just know that if you click on one of these, there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes with it. Now, some of the stuff you want. This one, for example, read aloud K-12. Cool. It's going to have a little animation of a book opening. It's going to have a place where you can type the title of the book. You can absolutely use those if you want, but you may sometimes, depending on what your purpose is, there may be more stuff to remove than you could just create a template yourself. And also note that you can create your own templates. If you have certain standard things you use every time, you can throw those in, no problem. I'm going to start with a blank one for right now to show you how that works. Okay, so here's my blank one. Now, we're going to talk about a thing called layers. Over here on the left, we've got a video 2, video 1, and audio. So this is the idea where things are on top of each other, and whatever the topmost thing is, that's what you're going to see. So I'll show you exactly how this works in a second. You also notice here are some things here, some clips here I do not create. There are ones that come with the WeVideo system, just kind of already built in. I can search by videos, by images, by audio. I can also filter them. Like I only want to see videos or sound effects or that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of different stuff here. These are available copyright free, so students can use them. And if you want to look through for certain things, these look like zoo focused ones. But there's all kinds of different stock media specifically for this type of thing. There's trips around the world. Here we go. I clicked another one, Canyon. So here's Grand Canyon or whatever, all kinds of different videos. So if you want kids to do a project using these, they could just click on one of these. I'll just click on the Grand Canyon here, and I can just drag that in here. And now I have that content. I have that video to use if I want to. Okay. I'm still going to stick with, I just deleted it. I'm still going to stick with my own media. So the next tab up here at the top, you notice it says stock media. Here's my media. So these are the things that I want to add. Okay, so these are things I've already uploaded. Well, what if I want to add a video or a sound effect or an audio piece? In the upper left, I'm going to click import. I can go browse on my computer. So if it's already downloaded, I can click browse to select. And I can go look for it on my desktop, or maybe it's my files. If I'm on a Chromebook, it might be under my downloads over here. So depending on where that is, I can upload that directly. I can also directly access my Google Drive. This little icon right here on the left, this little drive icon, if I click on that. So these are videos in this case, or it could be photos as well, that are already uploaded to my Google Drive. Now remember, if I've recorded something in Screencastify or in a Google Hangout right here under Meet Recordings, these are my meetings that have been recorded using Google Hangout, so I can use those directly. I can also search. Okay, so here's some videos right here. So here's one. Here's Nokomis Middle School. This is a Drive video that I've already had. Actually, this is a good one as well. I can click on that. I can click select. And you'll notice in a second here, let me scroll down, it's loading, but it will appear in my media. So as I go forward, I can add these to my own little sublist, and you can organize these and move them around. But if I've recorded something on Screencastify or WeVideo, I can put it in as my media, and now I can work with it. Cool. Well, what are some of the things I may want to do? I'm going to click import. This time I'm going to go browse, and I'm going to grab a photo. So here is a Nokomis photo. This is a drone shot of the new building. I actually already have it uploaded, so to show you how to do that. So here it is right here. And once I want to use that, I'm just going to drag it in here to my video 1 layer right here. Now I can adjust how long it is. You'll notice this bar right here at the top, the playhead. This is going to show me what's going to play as I jump back and forth. I can cut it if I wanted to. There's little scissors there that would kind of cut it in half. I can also leave a marker. So if you wanted to have from one point to another, this little plus here. These icons down here, if I click on that, that can edit the actual image if I needed to rotate it, which I don't. Obviously, the scale, if I want to make it bigger or smaller, flip it, all that kind of stuff. Let's do fit. We want it to fit fully. So all that kind of stuff if I want to edit it right on the screen here. Do I want it to move? So if I start it, let's start a little bit bigger. Let's start it over here on this side. And then I'm going to end, look over here, and I want it to end, and I'm going to move it on this side. They used to call this the Ken Burns effect, and the reason why, some places still do, Apple still does, but Ken Burns, the documentary maker, created this effect of taking still images and turning them into animations. So if I see this now if I go watch this effect here, I can watch this go from one side to the other. It looks like it's moving, even though it's just a still image. The other thing to note, because you probably won't see this right now, if I hit the space bar on my keyboard, that's my play. So that will play from one side to the other. There are other effects I can do in here. I can make it different effects, add to video, black and white, stabilization, all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to worry about any of this right now, but you can add those if you want to. All right, so I have an image, insert the front. Cool. Now I want to add some video footage. Again, I've already uploaded this footage. I've already clicked import and found this footage I had in my Google Drive. I'm going to drag it down here. I'm going to push them up next to each other. So this is going to go from this picture right here into this video. Okay. So if I hit play right now, I don't know if, let me see if I've got the sound on. There it goes. All right, couple things. Credit where credit's due. One of our students, Riley Bridges, is the one that actually created this footage over here on the right. So appreciate that from Riley. But let's add. So right now it just cuts. If I go from here to the video, it just cuts abruptly, right? So if I want to do a fade, if I want to make a transition, I'm going to click up right here on the top where it says transitions. Usually you either want to do a crossfade or what's called a jump cut, which is this one right here. A jump cut just goes from one image immediately to another one, or a crossfade. There's all kinds of different transitions. You can get really fancy, but usually unless there's a reason to do it, sometimes less is more. So I'm just going to throw a crossfade in here, and I'm going to drag it down between those two things. So now if I go for my image, notice how it kind of faded in there. Cool. So this video I had audio with it. You heard it start to play there. Let's say I don't want to use that audio. I want to add something else. So what I can do here is I'm going to remove the audio. I'm going to go to Audio tab up at the top. Or here, click on the little speaker icon, and I'm going to remove the audio. Went from 100% down to 0, or I can just turn it off totally like this. So there's no audio now. It's still there, but it's not going to play. And the reason why I might want to do that is I'm going to grab new audio to play underneath it. So instead of using the music that came with it, nothing wrong with the music, Riley, I appreciate that. But I'm going to use my own audio. I'm going to go back to my media. Something else. I'm going to find, this is a song that I found. I'm going to show you where I found this in a second. But I'm going to drag that down. Now, notice how I'm going to drag it at the very bottom under the audio layer right here. And now this is going to slide. And so now this is going to appear throughout the whole thing, not just during this time, but through the whole video, including the new images that I just added. So if I hit play. All right, so that's going to play the whole time, and I can move that around. Again, I have the same audio settings. Do I want it to fade in? Sure, that makes sense. I'll have it kind of fade up when it starts. How long does it take to fade? How loud does it get? All that kind of stuff. This looks pretty good. And again, we're talking about different layers. Well, where did I find this audio here? If you Google YouTube audio library, so YouTube audio library, you'll find a whole library of music. Now, one of the issues that, when we're publishing music like this is we want to think about copyright. We couldn't use the latest, whatever song. We couldn't throw whoever's, latest and greatest artist right now. Could be, especially if we're uploading them to video. Google does a pretty good job with what's called Content ID, and it will recognize the sound, and it might bring it down. It might actually take the video and say, nope, if there's copyrighted song on here, you don't have rights to it. Don't do it. These songs, the reason why I like these songs specifically, the YouTube audio library, is because these are already vetted by YouTube, so they're not going to take it down because they recognize these songs immediately. There are also all kinds of different options. So I can click on mood. Let's say I want a happy song. And what genre do I want? I want country music, okay? And I can even narrow it down to what instruments do I want. I want piano. And so I can, if I really look through here, I'll see all these different kind of songs. They'll be different time lengths. Maybe I need the duration under 30 seconds. So I need a short one. Oops. Yeah, there's only one. That's small. Let me do a little bit bigger here so we see more here. So if I like one, if I want to click on one to hear it, I can just hit the play over on the left side. Okay, if I like that song, I can listen to a bunch of them. I'm happy with that one. On the right side here where it says download, I would just click on that and it would download the song as an MP3 onto my, again, depending on what device I'm using, onto my desktop, onto my downloads folder, or onto my file manager on a Chromebook. Then once it's downloaded, if I want to upload that video, I'm going to do the same as I mentioned earlier. I'm just going to click on import, go browse to find it. And in this case, I did one earlier called Campfire Song, and that's it right there, the MP3. So that's the song that we're listening to right here, right down below. So I've got my picture, I've got some music, I've got some different video up here. All right, that sounds pretty cool. Let's say I want to add some text. Okay, up across the top here, click on text. Same idea, these little boxes here. And I can look through and find what I like the looks of. There's different motions and all kinds of different templates. I'm going to do a simple one for right now. I'm just going to drag this down right on top of it. So you notice how I put it on top of it, which means that if I look at the text, it'll come on top of it. If I want to edit the text, I'm just going to click the little pencil above it. Here it is, and we'll call this one Comus. I can, let's make it a little bit bigger as far as the font size go. Let's make that be, let's say 200. Big enough. There we go. We'll do a little thicker. We choose what font we want, and we'll make it nice and burgundy. I think that's burgundy. That's pretty close. Can move it around there. Cool. So now we have a title that kind of goes over it. So now if I click on that video, click play again. Add some motion to it. We'll cut into this one. All right. So we've got our video, we've got some text, we've got all kinds of different pieces. This looks pretty good. If I wanted to add one more thing, we can do backgrounds. Now we're not going to talk about green screen very much today, overlays, just because you have to have the kind of a good setup for it in the background. But let's say I just want to use one of these as a video just because. I'm just going to grab this one, it's kind of cool. And notice if I drag it to the top layer, it's just going to show me whichever one of these is on top. See how it cut to that yellow video on the top just because it was above? And so that's what's going to happen. I don't need to cut it inside of it and overwrite it. It will delete the other one. I can just leave it on top of it. And now I can see this one for a little while and jump back. So these are the layered idea here where you have music going underneath everything. And then you have different layers of J cuts or H cuts depending on what you're doing. All right, this looks pretty good. When I'm done, I've played with it, I'm ready, I've saved it, it's good. I'm going to click finish in the upper right-hand corner. What am I call this one? I'm going to call this one NRHS drone footage. Set. What option do I want? Do I want audio only? No, but I mean, that's an option. What's the thumbnail? What's the first thing that people see? And you can kind of adjust which one. Just so you know, this first one right here, that's wherever the playhead was. So if you notice, let me jump back for 1 second. The playhead right here, I can move it. Let's say I want it to be this. Let's say I want this to be the very first thing as a thumbnail. When I click finish, there's my option right there. So whatever I want to move the playhead, that will do it as the video thumbnail if that's what you want. Standard def or HD, basically it just depends on the quality of the video. Usually, unless there's a reason not to, I would always go the higher end. The only reason why I may not, if it really doesn't matter, because the file size is smaller, and also it will take longer. So if I'm in a rush, I might do the smaller version, but usually I'd probably do the HD version. Again, it will take a little while. When I'm all done, where does it go? So by default, it goes into your WeVideo account. So your WeVideo has storage right there. I can also automatically add it to my Google Drive right here. If I wanted a YouTube channel, you could send it directly to YouTube and have it stored there as well. I'm just going to keep it in my Google Drive. When I click export, now this is going to take a while. This video is not super big, but it'll tell you, it'll have like a countdown for you. I'm just going to jump back here to show you in projects. I already have it done. Like this is one from earlier as a sample. I can just open that project up, open it up again. And here's the same thing I just did basically, just a couple different little changes, but this is basically the same one I did earlier, just to show you how this works. And that video will then be stored in your Google Drive. So if I go to my Drive, we'll go to recent. Here, drone footage. So this is the one I made earlier. Actually, I think it's called sample. I double click on it. Nope, wrong one. Oh. Let's try this one. So this video right now, if I wanted to share this with somebody else, just like all things in Google, like a Google Doc or anything else, I can click up in the upper right here, and I can share that. This can be shared with an individual. I can type somebody in and share it with somebody individually. I can also click advanced, and I could say I want to share this with everyone, meaning that it doesn't mean that everyone just automatically see it, but if they do click the link, it would be public. I could also just share with just students at RSU 19 or just individuals at RSU 19, meaning again, if they have the link, they can click on it. As long as they're signed in with their school account, they would be able to do that. All right. So I think that's most of WeVideo. I didn't do much in the way of talking about the templates, only because it's one of those things that you're gonna have to play with. If it's worth your time and energy to play with the templates, if you think that, what I find is sometimes it's more work to have a template and remove the things I don't want than to start from scratch and adding it. And that's 100% up to you. What makes sense to you? Again, the more you play with it, do a couple little things, get the hang of it, that's how you'll determine that as far as that goes. Here are my templates right here. And again, you create your own if you want to. If I click the plus in the bottom right-hand corner, I can create my own custom template. And all that means is there'll be certain things already there, maybe certain music, maybe certain pictures or videos or titles or that kind of stuff already done. You would just have that, so you don't have to start from scratch each time. All right, when I come back to my dashboard, you'll notice here's the one that I just edited a few minutes ago. All my older ones are here. It'll give you a storage component here. That's pretty much it for WeVideo. Let's jump back. All right, let's check out some of the questions. I don't have the full version on my school laptop. How do I get it? So if you make sure you go to google.com and sign out of all accounts, everything. Again, sometimes you think you are, it looks like the account name it's the right one, but for whatever reason, it's stuck in the old one. So you sign out of everything, and then just sign into your school account, and then go to WeVideo, and a box will pop up. If I sign out right now, let me show you what this would look like. So I'm going to sign out of WeVideo. I think I'm still signed in. Yeah, let me sign out again. Boom, log out. Okay, so when you first come to WeVideo and you haven't signed in before, this is what it's going to look like. In the upper right, it says there's a little Google icon. Basically, you're signing in with your school account. If you click on that, this will pop up. Again, yours won't have stuff here because these are ones I've edited, but you'll have like a blank version and say start a new project. And I would just play with one that you don't care about, one that you can delete later on, just to kind of get the hang of it and mess with it a little bit. And again, maybe share them with students and have them play with it a little bit. And I think that as we go forward, more and more students using this, it'll be even better to receive higher quality, even if it's just a simple discussion video, one that's they're talking to you as a recording. But if they can add text and if they can add an image or that kind of stuff, it just adds to the value of the quality of the content. The other questions here about green screen. Yeah, so there is a built-in kind of a chroma key, which is a green screen thing. The issue with green screen is you really need to have, or ideally have, a single flat colored background. So right now, the situation I'm in would be really bad because I have some dark, my chair is really dark black, and I've got some light over here. And so this situation, if I tried to do green screen, it wouldn't come out very well. Now, if I took a sheet or something that has as solid color as possible, and if I get out of the way and turn on green screen, it will use that as a backdrop. Then I can jump in and it's kind of behind me. Again, the quality of that's going to depend on lighting. So if there's any shadows, the lighting of your room, all that kind of stuff. If you look at the quote unquote real green screen, the real kind of movie level quality green screen effects, they have amazing amounts of lighting. They have lighting from every source. There's almost no shadows because they can add those afterward. But definitely play with it. Why not? Check it out. See if it's something you can, throw one of those backgrounds in. It's kind of moving around. It's cool. Kind of something to play with. And have your students check it out too, because again, it might be fun for them to look. I'm in the Grand Canyon. Here I am, and have them in the background or whatever. Be worth kind of playing with. All right. So the last thing I'm going to share with you guys today, if you can look at those show notes, this is a nice video editor. WeVideo is great for that. Again, it's it works well. It's great for what we need it for this project. If you're looking for an image editor that's a little bit beyond just a simple image editor, that's just a simple cropping and what we call a filter. A filter is something that edits an entire image at once. So you're not cutting out a part of it or a piece of it. You're doing the entire thing. Well, the tool of the week that I'm sharing is called Photo PEA or Photo P. It looks like this. So it's Photo PEA. See if the video comes through. Looks like I'm frozen for some reason. I'm going to stop presenting and present again and see why that did that. Try it one more time. For some reason it's not showing my screen. There it goes. Okay. So this is a service or an online service. It's free, called Photopea or Photopea, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it's PHOTOPEA. And it's like a Adobe Photoshop Lite. Again, it's not Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop is a very high-end level, program. It's great for what it is. It's kind of the gold standard of image editing, but it's a light or a free version of that. Now, how they make their money, if you look over on the right here, there are some ads. And I've never seen an ad that's inappropriate for class, so I've never had an issue that way. But that's how they make their money. But I can open up, I can do a new project. We will do someday. Again, they have templates. I'm just going to create a blank one. I'll do a session just on Photopea someday, just because I think it's a great project, a great tool for kids to use. Also because it's free, they don't have any storage on it. So kids are very used to like a Google Doc where if I type something, if I walk away and close on my computer, it's automatically saved. This does not do that. If I need to save something, it's not saving for me automatically. I actually have to click File, save as a PSD, which is a Photoshop file, or export it as a JPEG, an image file. But this works. It has layers. It's a really high level, really high quality, free image editor. So if you want something that's a little bit beyond Google Photos image editing, as far as editing entire images at once, but actually getting into individual pixels, this is a great tool for that. And like I said, we'll do this as a topic in some future episode. But for today, I just want to share this with you. So if you're somebody that's looking for an image editor to be able to add to your WeVideos, but a little bit better than just kind of a simple one, this is a great tool to use. All right. So with that, yeah, I'll type in Photopea. Is that how you're pronouncing it? I don't know. I've heard it everything from the kids. I've heard Photopea. I've heard Photopea. I've heard Photopea. Whatever. Regardless, it's a good tool. So I do want to share. So Friday, I will not have a live tech PD day. I'm in a meeting with the DOE pretty much all day, so I will not be available. But we are going to have tomorrow. We're either going to have one or two topics. I think it looks like we're going to have Google Hangouts. We've talked about it before off and on, but I do want to do one show that's just specifically on setting up a Hangout, some of the extensions that have come with it. I know some people emailed me today, like, why is the extensions kind of messed up? Something got disabled and re-enabled. We're going to take care of all that. So tomorrow we'll do Google Hangouts, how to set one up, how to share with your staff, with your students or whatever, how to add some extensions that are useful that you can use right now. We talked about the grid view or the thumbs up or the wave, that kind of stuff. So that will be our topic for tomorrow. As always, if you have any questions, please go to rsu19.info if you're in the district, or if you're outside, steampoweredlearning.org, and you have a question comment field right there. You can fill that in. I'll receive them, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. So thanks, everybody, for coming, and see you tomorrow.